My name is Dave Sparks.
Hi, my name's Casey.
Hey, what's happening? This is Ryan Radden.
This is Chris Burkhardt.
Here's why I like to spread positivity on social media.
Hey guys, welcome out to the Bonfire.
Welcome
We're so happy
again to the Bonfire.
Good evening. This is Mark Mabry. You are watching the Bonfire on the Believe page, and you might be wondering why is he back again?
Hello, welcome back to the Bonfire. I don't even know what season or what episode this is, but we're back and it's great to be with you. I will be your host. Nice to be back. My name is York Allen. I'm the mission president for the Tennessee-Nashville mission. And I am pleased to have as a co-host a return missionary and also my nephew. Well, he's technically my cousin's son. So somebody put in the comments below what that is. Is that
Explain it. We're still trying to figure it out.
Yeah, but that's who he is. His name is Drage Cameraman, and he drove down with a buddy. Julius, right? Yeah. He's out in the studio audience of 3. Thanks for being here. Thanks for driving. So he came down 6 hours to be with us today. So thank you for doing that.
Thanks for
Let me
having
give
me.
you a brief intro, and I want you to do a little bit better job.
Okay.
So not only is he my favorite cousin's son, but he's also a very accomplished social media influencer. And I know this is like weird and awkward, but tell us your handles. And I just want to know so that the audience knows that you know what you're talking about.
Yeah.
Tell us your different platforms and tell us how big you are, your influence.
Like how much I weigh, or
You could. That could be interesting.
So I'm Drage Cameraman. All handles are just my name.
Okay.
I've been doing social media for 5 years plus. I actually was able to. I was like one of the first social media elders, I guess, because it was before even social media was allowed on missions. And I got permission from my from the mission president, stake president, and general authorities to be able to like film a couple clips on my mission.
Very cool.
It was nothing substantial. It was me knocking doors or like little things here and there. But I've been doing social media for 5 years. Have 3 million followers on TikTok, 178,000 on YouTube, 150,000 on Instagram. Kind of just been in the world of social media for the past 5 years. Worked with David Dobrik, Funk Bros, the Paul Brothers, kind of any big influencer. Roman Atwood is a big one, and just been in the world of social media, seen the bad, the good, seen how it can destroy lives and make lives amazing.
Okay, I got distracted at Roman Atwood.
Yes.
I know you got a connection there. So listen, any influence you can peddle to get him on the Bonfire, Roman, we'd love to have you.
That's the goal. That would be cool.
Okay, so let me introduce our theme. The theme is social media, but more specifically, how social media can be a powerful tool for spreading the gospel, and for spreading just kindness, light, goodness, positivity, and it's something that's really needed in our world today. It's something that Drage is really good at doing, and so that is going to be the topic of today's Bonfire. To kick it off, we're going to go to a segment. Let me make a brief introduction, and then we'll follow up after. You will be hearing from Ethan and Colin, who are my 2 nephews. They're my older brother Gary's sons, and they're going to share a story that was tragic and inspiring, and really helped me have a change of heart on the power of social media, because I was down on it big time before. So let's go to that now.
Hi, my name is Colin Galland.
And I'm Ethan Galland.
On August 30th, 2013, It was my first week of high school. I was 14 years old, and I decided to go to a party after our first football game. I was deciding to do a double backflip on the trampoline. It was night, the tramp was the same color as the sky, and I opened up thinking I was going to land on my feet, and I landed on my head. Ended up breaking my neck at C6 and 7, cervical break. And I was laying on the trampoline, couldn't move, couldn't feel, was full of fear, and I called my brother, Ethan.
Yeah, so Colin called me. That was not a fun phone call. He remembers as me being mean to him, but I was 16 and he was 14, and when your little brother calls you and says they can't move, typically they're fine. In this case, he wasn't. But anyway, Colin was rushed to the emergency room in Orem, Utah via ambulance, and I went with him there and my parents. And at the time, I was 16. I was a sophomore or junior in high school, and I had a little bit of a following on Instagram, just kind of in the community. And it was the first time in my life that I had really used Instagram for this purpose, but when Colin had broken his neck and when he was in the emergency room, it was not fun. It was tough for both of us. Probably a lot more for him, definitely, but I remember posting on Instagram using social media at that time, and I just posted a picture of me and Colin from like 3 days prior to that. It was us at church, and I posted the picture with just like big like yield signs, like caution signs, and said, "Attention, attention, please, everybody, I don't care what you're doing, please pray for my younger brother Colin." And so I posted that, and not really thinking much, I also tweeted it out, and then within the next 2 hours I had probably close to 90 text messages and a bunch of direct messages and things like that. And Colin was rushed to the emergency room and then life flighted up to Primary Children's Hospital in Salt Lake City, Utah. And he had surgery after surgery. Things did not go very well in the hospital for him for the first 6 weeks, I would say. But I remember there was a giant movement. We started a blog called Pray for Colin, and that was getting close to 50,000 views per day. And so it was very aware to us the power of social media and the power that through that we were able to collect people praying. I remember our brother was on a mission in Mozambique. His whole mission was praying for Colin. Everyone probably in the state of Utah was praying for Colin. We had a friend in Scotland and a to-be in-law in Scotland as well, and they were praying for him. I remember that. There was a lot of prayers, and it was through social media that we were able to put that message out. It was kind of new at the time. It was in 2013, and so it was really cool to see a community gather so quickly in a common purpose through prayer for Colin. But KP, how are you doing now?
I'm doing great, and I'll add, I didn't know all this movement was happening because I was kind of out of it and dealing with the situation, but even not knowing that they were there, you can feel the prayers, and it definitely gave me the strength and courage, I think, to be able to kind of get through those hard times. And then even just a few years ago, I ran into someone in J-Dogs, and she said, "I'm from Texas, I'm here for a women's conference, and I just want to say, I followed your blog 6 years ago, and so it has helped me raise my kids with this good attitude, and it helped me have my kids pray for something other than themselves." And she thanked me for giving them an opportunity to practice their faith in prayer, and it really touched me all the years later, because I go up and down, you know.
Yeah.
And the community still, to this day, I will get people reach out and say kind words to me, and it really, really makes a difference.
So yeah, social media, it can be dangerous and it can be harmful at times, but it's also super, super useful for spreading information, for getting a community to join a common cause and to push forward, I guess, faith. And so we're both super grateful for that. But yeah.
Yeah, so that whole experience happened. I mean, I'm the same exact age as Colin, so I just remember hearing my cousin got in an accident. He might be paralyzed. I'm not sure what's happening, but like I feel like there's no way I took it the same way you did. How did that experience really change your mind on social media, though?
Yeah, well, first of all, that was a really powerful story. Thank you, nephews, for doing that. Can't believe it's been 10 years. And what a relatively good outcome. But I was down on social media at that time. My daughter just kind of gotten onto Instagram and a few other things. As a young bishop of the Laguna Beach congregation, it seemed like I could tie so many problems with the youth and adults, frankly, just to social media, whether it was some addictions or comparing. It was just all problems as far as I could see. Until one night when my son Isaac woke me up. I want to say it was like 11 o'clock at night. I'm not sure. He woke me up and he was upset and he said, "Dad, Colin has been in an accident and he's been hurt." But the only Colin that I was thinking of at the time was the boy that my daughter Margie was dating. And so adrenaline, spiked, and I sat up and I said, "Is Margie okay?" Because I knew that they were together. And he said, "Well, I don't know, Dad." And I sat up, turned on my night light or the side light, and I said, "Isaac, you got to focus. Is Margie okay?" He said, "Okay, you're thinking about Colin, Margie's boyfriend. I'm talking about Colin, your nephew, in Utah. He's been in a trampoline accident. He was doing a double backflip or something, and he landed wrong, and his neck might be broken. He might die. I just don't know. But I thought you'd want to know." I said, "Well, how did you find this out?" Because he was in bed, I think. And he said, "I got a call from David Clausen, who was in our congregation there in Laguna Beach." I said, "Well, how does he know Colin?" He says, "Well, he knows that he's my cousin, and he saw it on social media. He saw it on Instagram." I'm like, "Oh." So, of course, I have all sorts of questions. So I sit up. I had my daughter's Instagram on my phone with her blessing. But I sat up, I log on, and right there at the beginning is a post by Ethan Galland. And it had this picture of Colin smiling, and he was in a Beloved t-shirt. I think he was doing an ad. The owner of it is in his congregation there. And I think he was on a skateboard, smiling. He's a handsome kid. And the caption said, "Colin's been in a serious accident. Please pray for him right now." Something like that. And so we did, right there, my wife and I and Isaac. And I went and clicked through a few comments. I saw that Beloved t-shirts had reposted that same plea for prayer. And I could see that other influencers had reposted it. And it was pretty clear that probably within 30 minutes of this accident happening, several 100,000 people had laid eyes on it. I'm sure some of them actually stopped what they were doing and said a prayer.
Yeah.
The others, I'm sure, at least were thinking about him and were hoping that he would be okay, which is a form of prayer.
For sure. And like, even if it was 1% of that 100,000.
Right.
Like,
we know.
Like, that's 1,000
we could
people.
talk for 8 hours on this bonfire about the miracles that come from like united prayer. And it just dawned on me in that moment that I thought, okay, this is super powerful. The ability to gather in an army of people to do something like to pray for somebody. And all sorts of lights started turning on in my head. And I thought, okay, I'm going to repent. Certainly there's a lot of negatives to social media, but the power to do good was super apparent in that moment. listen, you're the one who drove down here for 6 hours. I'm going to stop talking. I want to hear more from you.
Yeah.
You have a lot of experience, and more than that, you know a lot of people who have a ton of experience. So maybe speak to how social media can be used for bad and the outcome of that, and for good and the potential outcome for that. But I think somehow your comment should begin with how you know Roman Atwood, because that's kind of cool.
Yeah, I mean that's a cool story in and of itself. And actually, I've never actually shared the story of how I met Roman Atwood, and I don't think I've ever shared it on my social media because it's just, I mean, everyone that knows Roman Atwood knew that he was such a huge family vlogger.
Yeah.
His whole life was always, I mean, he started off doing pranks. That was his first thing, and then he turned into a family vlogger who was, I'm gonna film my family. And family's everything. It doesn't matter. And I always had in the back of my mind, I was like, this guy would make the perfect LDS human. Like, I don't know how.
To be clear, member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. We know what you mean.
Yeah. So I don't know how he's not a part of our church. Like, he loves his family. Family's number one. It seems like he's always doing good. His livelihood is Smile More. Like, that's his brand. He was always trying to push positivity. And, actually, funny story, I didn't even tell you this earlier when we were talking about it, but I prayed before I went on my mission that I would get called to the Columbus mission because I was like, I'm going to go knocking on his door.
Oh, really? You knew where he lived, or generally speaking?
Well, I just knew he was in Columbus or in that area. I'm like, if I knock every door, I'm going to find it. I'm going to knock, and I know he needs to hear the gospel because I know for a fact. And I actually have told him this after meeting him, and he's like, cool. Oh, my gosh, the fact that you prayed for us that way is amazing. But long story short, I ended up meeting other people from Ohio, and we ended up moving those people into my house in LA, and I ended up coming out and hanging out with this
time frame.
girl.
Is this in the last year or so?
Last 5 years was when I met these people from Ohio. Last 2 years is when I started coming out to Ohio. My one friend that we moved out, it was always a joke. She was always like, you're never allowed to come to my house. She's like, you can't. My house in Ohio is Ohio home. You can hang out with me in LA. She invited her friend out. Her friend invited me to come out to her house. And I was like, perfect. This is my in. I'm going out to Ohio. Yeah. I'm going to come hang out with this girl. She ended up being in this area in the middle of nowhere, and it was Sunday. I had nothing to do. I was like, hey, let's go to church. And I'm not the biggest go to church on Sunday if I'm not in my home ward.
Repent.
I know, but I felt like I need to go to church. Let's go.
Yeah.
I ended up showing up to church that week, and Roman Atwood and his whole family walked in. And I had watched him all throughout high school. He was always the person that I was like, I want to emulate the same light that he shows. I want to be an influencer like him, the way that he makes people want to be good.
So wait, he walks into this congregation that you're visiting.
Yeah, random.
And did you know if he was LDS at this point?
No, I just always was like, if I ever met him, I would want to share the gospel with him. And I didn't know he was LDS. I ended up meeting him, talking to him. He had seen me from other stuff because we had mutual friends on social media. And
you're kind of a big deal. Come on.
He's super big.
Yeah.
No, but Funk Bros is who I lived with. He followed Corey. They knew each other. Actually, Corey had posted a video or a photo outside your helicopter when we went and did that video.
Oh, right, yeah.
He had commented on that. So we were all like, whoa, that's so sick. Anyways, fast forward, I meet him. We start talking, and I'm like, hey, I don't know why we met just now. I had actually got his number 3 years prior from Travis Pastrana because my dad was connected with him.
Yeah.
We had texted in the past about doing something. Nothing ever came through. Anyways, I got his number again, texted him, and everything clicked with him. He's like, oh, I've talked to this guy. And it's crazy that we're both members of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. I know based off just that alone what type of person this person is. He had been dealing with a bunch of people that were stalking him, breaking in, people that were after him and his family. So, I mean, anyone in their right mind that was dealing with that would not trust anyone. And but he was like, let me allow this guy to come help me. I went and helped film one video with him. And after that night, it was a Monster Jam thing. We were coming out, and we just started talking in the parking lot for about an hour on his conversion story, his family, what happened, and everything. And we just became a family unit kind of just right off the bat through that. Fast forward a month and a half, my best friend. I'm the type of friend that shows up at a doorstep, and if it's my friend's house, I'll knock on the door and just be like, hey, what are you guys up to?
Yeah,
I knocked
good.
on Corey's girlfriend's door, and Corey was there, and he's like, oh, I want to go buy a GTR in New York tomorrow. And I'm like, you're going to fly out tonight and go buy a GTR? And he's like, yeah. I'm like, I'll fly out with you if we leave right
You're
now.
a good friend, Ray.
So that night, we flew out from L.A. to New York at like 2 hours after. I had no clothes on me. I'm just like, let's go. We got there, and I texted Rome. I'm like, hey, is there any way we could drop my friend's car off at your house and ship it back? We wanted to do a little bit of a road trip. And he's like, yeah, no problem. And in this text message chain, I was like, hey, what's your address? Where should we drop the car? What's this? And he's like, oh, drop it at this address. Put the keys here.
Like,
also, you should
drop
buy
it
my...
at the Costco in the next town.
It was like 3 over. But he's like, drop it off at this address. Leave the keys here. You should buy my house. We should be able to pick it up later.
Wait,
and I was like, what?
What?
I was like, you should buy my house. Like,
Oh.
where did that come from? I'm like, yes, I do social media. I'm not a billionaire. I don't have a ton of money. I've been in positions where I've been with big influencers who have a lot of money, who have done this for years, have been making millions. But I got the opportunity to buy this house that I've watched forever. And I'm like, okay, this is interesting. Anyways, I called my dad. I'm like, Dad, I don't know how this is even possible. I don't know if this is even a possible thing. Weirdly enough, my parents had just sold their house. They were moving in with my grandma to help my grandma, and it just was working out. My dad's like, well, this might be in the budget. Let's see if this would be a good investment. We end up flying out 3 months later, talking to Roman, and I was like, okay, Roman, but I need to go back to this text message chain. And we swiped through it. I'm like, literally, we're going from where to put the keys to you want me to buy your house. So like, how did that come up?
Yeah.
And he's like, well, I just have known in the past when I feel the Spirit and I feel something prompting me to do something from God, I can't let it pass. I've let it pass in the past, and it just didn't work out.
Interesting.
And if I listen to Heavenly Father and I listen to the Spirit, then everything will work out. And he's like, I just had the biggest impression to let you have the ability to buy my house. He's like, if you don't want to buy this, you don't have to. He's like, but just so you know, that's why I offered it to you. And I was like, shoot, okay,
So he let you know that you're on the other side of inspiration.
100%. And
cool.
And so, anyways, everything came to pass. Now I live in Roman Atwood's old house, and it's a beacon for immense social media work. I mean, it's one of the most famous houses on social media, and I have the ability to live there. Now my favorite thing to do is have the missionaries come over.
I know, I was going to say.
I'm just like,
I know you've got social media influencers there, and you got missionaries there at the same
I'm
time.
just
It's kind of
like,
cool.
I'm like, when P-Day comes around, I'm like, bring all the missionaries over. Every week, I probably have the missionaries over at my house every week because I want the light of Christ in my house. I want my house to be like a temple. I want people to be able to watch my videos and be like, wow, there's something different with this. I mean, Roman Atwood was on Logan Paul's podcast for completely different things, and Logan Paul totally called Roman out and was like, hey, you're Mormon, and Roman's like, well, yeah, I am a part of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints.
Right.
We actually don't like calling ourselves Mormons anymore because it's gotten bad reps off it, and it was cool because Roman totally said that, and then and he's like, but how'd you know? And Logan Paul was just like, I could just tell, Mormons have a different look to them and different acts.
Was he complimenting them?
And it was 100% complimentary, and so that was one, I think, big part of where I've seen good in social media.
Okay, so let me. I want to get your observations.
Yeah.
Clearly, social media. You can probably become an influencer and blow up, maybe have a lot of success, maybe make a lot of money, maybe not. But you can do that quick and bad, right?
Yeah. It's so easy. I could go out and do naughty things, and people like watching it because people aren't. There's the group of people that like to watch the partiers and the people that are doing crazy pranks and all this stuff that is just tearing people down, because it's so much easier to make fun of someone, tear them down,
right,
for you to get the glory of the fun. It's impossible. It's impossible, really hard to be that light and that glory of social media by sharing positivity. I've seen both sides. I've seen people make millions of dollars doing the let's do inappropriate stuff. We're going to make millions of dollars. And I've seen that millions of dollars disappear super fast. And I've seen people make millions of dollars doing what's right and sharing positivity. And it tends to look like the people that are sharing positivity and always trying to do good tend to make their wealth go way more amongst their ages, I guess, and last longer than.
Well, I was going to say the currency of social media is followers and engagement.
Oh, yeah.
And I've seen it that if it's like one of these family vloggers, or something that's wholesome, whether it's cooking food or usually family oriented, their followers are faithful, they're engaged, and so really. And
those are the followers that you want.
It is.
Like my favorite thing to do is turn on just I like try not to cry videos. Like I'll sit in my room and just watch those wholesome songs or wholesome videos of just the people that are just doing good for their community and good for humanity. And it really inspires you to do something. I mean, even if like the other day, I was telling you, there's this old man that I just passed. I was going 60 on a road past him, and he was stuck on his lawnmower in the mud. And I was just like, you know what? I just feel impressed. Turn around and go help him. I got out, pushed him out of this mud pit in 2 seconds, and it was the easiest thing. I mean, I could have filmed that. I could have made a whole story out of it, and it would inspire others to help other people do that. But like, I mean, even seeing, you can see both sides.
Let me cut you off on that.
Yeah.
That's something that I've watched you do. That's who you are. And because that's who you are all the time, we're going to see that goodness in the productions that you do. And by the way, I was going to say, were you wearing those boots when you pushed them out?
I was.
Because I'm seeing mud on those. Let's do this. Let's go. We have a segment that we're excited to show you. We don't want to dwell on the negativity of social media. You all know what the problems are. We hear about it. But I love it that you have just sat here and promoted social media as something that can be powerful when it is used for good, and it can be incredibly powerful when you use it correctly. So here is just one pre-ending invitation I'm going to give you. Before you just decide to take a break from social media or to throw it out or to turn it off, consider just keeping it and only looking at positive things and only engaging in a positive way and only posting positive things.
And be proud of who you are.
Yeah, don't throw away the good with the bad. Yeah. Okay, so we are going to let you watch a number of social media influencers who, in our opinion at least, have been, for the most part, good at promoting positivity, if not the gospel of Jesus Christ. So let's go to that now.
Here's why I like to spread positivity on social media. There was a time in my life, before I even did social media, where I would sit and watch it for hours, whether it was 5 minutes, 10 minutes, or even like hours. And I would always watch the people that inspired me or would go and chase their dreams and do things that I never even thought were imaginable. And now that I have been lucky enough to have a platform to do that, I feel like in all my videos, I want to give that same message because there is thousands of people that watch our stuff all the time. And if I can show them that if I can do it, they can do it, that's all that matters.
Hi, my name's Casey, and I like spreading positivity all throughout my social media channels, just because if it can literally brighten just one person's day, make one person's day better, turn it around for them, then that's success in my book. That's all worth it to me, and I'm just thankful for the platform and the ability to be able to maybe possibly impact one person.
Hey, what's happening? This is Ryan Radden, also known as Cascade. I am a music producer, songwriter, and from time to time I sing. Yes, my music, I make music that spreads light and love, and I'm trying to make people feel good with the songs that I make. And my social media is naturally a reflection of that. I typically use my social media. I'm not very good at social media. I've been trying and getting better all the time, trying to get better all the time. But I use my social media to invite people to listen to my music, to come to shows, and hopefully they make that journey, find the music, and that brings them some happiness. that's ultimately what I'm trying to do and what I use my platform for, spreading light and love and hopefully some happiness.
My name is Dave Sparks. Some people know me as Heavy D from the Discovery Channel show Diesel Brothers. I am a social media influencer, YouTube content creator, TV personality, father, husband, and a member of the Church of Jesus Christ. I want to take a second to talk to you guys about the power and importance of social media. You see, my livelihood, my career, my whole life is based around creating content and putting it out there for the whole world to see. And as many of you know, with great power comes great responsibility. And with all the negativity and all the garbage that's online these days, I think it's very important that there's light. There's people out there spreading positivity and love and serving others and showing people how the world really should be and how we should be treating each other. So I've decided to use my platform to do as much good as possible. Our content is basically going out and serving and finding opportunities to help others in every situation possible. And in doing this, we found a way to share the love of Christ and the gospel and, bring hope to people that otherwise might not have it in a world where there's a lot of bad stuff going on. So anyways, guys, I just wanted to tell you, good work. You're doing awesome.
Hey friends, this is Chris Burkhardt. I am a photographer and a director, and have been working in adventure sports for the last 15 years or so, and been lucky enough to explore some of the most remote and wild places on the earth. And for me, religion plays such a beautiful role in that exploration. It allows me to have a deeper and more connected understanding with the world around me, and I really try to utilize social media as a tool to celebrate and to share with others, specifically non-members, the beauty of this world and the beauty of the natural world. And I feel like for many people, accessing nature is a privilege and allows for them to understand better the love that our Father in heaven has for us through his creations. I also think that simple things like, saying and stating that you're LDS in your bio and things like that can lead to deep and meaningful conversations. And I would urge everybody to explore what that role might look like for them in spreading the gospel in unconventional ways.
Awesome. We just wanted to thank all the influencers that were willing to send in their perspective on social media and how they share their light. But I mean, another thing with social media is there's those influencers that are terrified of their brands being wrecked by sharing religion, sharing politics.
Yeah.
Have you ever had any experiences in your social media? Because I know you have member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints in your bio. I mean, you're a mission president and you share that openly.
Yeah. Good question. So I remember I think I was taking my daughter to the airport to go on our mission. And she said, "Dad, you should get an Instagram account. You don't have to do personal stuff with it. You don't have to do birthday parties and all that kind of stuff, but it would be really good at promoting your aerial film work with helicopters." I said, "Do you think it would make a difference?" It made a really big difference. But I think we came up with the name. We all argue who really came up with it. Between my wife and my daughter and I, we all did. But I fly heli. So I started building that brand. And in the helicopter industry, I would say it's very well known around the world.
Oh, yeah.
Now, granted, the helicopter industry isn't that big. But I'm very brand specific in what I promoted on that. So it's kind of interesting. The goal was to make it business only, and I slowly realized that if I'm going to use social media for good, then I should be good, and then I should be transparent in who I am. And so I immediately put up the fact that I'm married, I have kids. Occasionally I will, if I'm endorsed by a certain brand, I'll put that up there, but I always I don't put it last, but it's to undergird everything else above it, the fact that I'm a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. And I wondered if I would lose like a bunch of followers. I think I gained some initially. But not only did I have that in my bio, but I started interjecting into my feed and into my stories more things about my family, more things that were important to me as a married man, as a family man, and as a believer in Christ. And then that even morphed to where I would interlace, maybe once a month, every couple months, a very personal story of a spiritual experience I had, maybe recently. So I started putting that into my feed. And not only did it not burn up my brand, I think it made the followers more engaged, but more loyal. And I would say, and I've done probably some, helicopter pilots and photographers, especially recently, I've done mostly religious things, but I bet you I've only had 5 or 6 negative comments.
Yeah.
And because I'm always about only promoting positivity, I don't engage them. I don't let other people engage them. I just delete those comments and move on. So the answer is I think there's power in not only being good, but also being transparent so that people can see that you're good. We have surgeons out there, truck drivers, mothers. You're admired in your communities because you're good. And most people already know you're either a believer or a member of the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints. So own it.
Yeah.
Be proud of it. And that is a way to build positivity. It's a way to help spread the gospel. So, since this is the bonfire and we're kind of wrapping up, my invitation to all of our viewers is to be brave. You don't have to get too personal, but be brave and let your social media community know who you really are.
Yeah.
And if that would embarrass you in any way, well, be better, be more, and then let them watch you be better and be more, and let it inspire others to do the same.
Yeah, I love this quote that my dad always told me, and it was throughout high school and everything, and it was, if you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything. And I think that really ties into that. If you don't stand for what you believe in, anyone can put you in any situation and you'll just fall into it. And so that's really strong.
So, Drage, I told you that you have to come up with a invitation for us. Can I maybe even push you a little bit?
Yeah, give me a nudge.
Listen, you're a very successful influencer. Just got to throw that out there. I'm proud. He's my nephew. But not everybody is, and most people don't want to be.
Yeah.
But everyone participates in social media.
For sure.
So if you're just a participator, and maybe not even an engager, but just an observer, what would be your advice to those people for spreading good?
So, I mean, the biggest thing, I want to get a little technical for everyone, just because a lot of people don't understand social media and how it works. If I were to post a video tomorrow and it got 10 likes, 10 views, and 0 shares, it's not going to go out. People won't see it. It's all based off an algorithm. So
your kids will see it, or your mom.
So I think that the biggest thing is if you don't have your own social media, you don't post it, the biggest thing is to interact in the good stuff on social media. By you sharing the quotes or the good, happy videos and the people spreading positivity, you sharing it, you liking it, you commenting on it, it's going to push those videos. If you share and like and comment on the bad stuff, it's going to push those videos. So if everyone as a community shares and likes and comments on good videos and positive stuff, then it's going to be flooding social media with positive stuff. And so I would say my invitation is to when you're on social media, only engage with good, positive, uplifting videos, and like it, comment, share, and be proud of who you are. If you're a member of our church, the Church of Jesus Christ of Latter-day Saints, put it in your bio.
I love that.
People think that it's going to wreck who they are. They're going to lose friends. Who cares if you lose friends?
Yeah.
Like the friends that you lose for doing that, for sticking up for who you are, what you believe in. I mean, the Lord's going to give us.
They weren't your friends anyway, so you lost nothing.
Yep. The Lord gives us 10 times the amount of blessings when we stand for what we believe in.
Can I add an addendum to that? Yes, please, don't just go spend hours looking at the good stuff. Be deliberate when you do look at social media and when you do get on it. Get on it for a reason, and then when you do, that time that you take, do as you asked, to only promote and look at and engage in the positive things.
Yeah.
Drage, this has been awesome. Thanks for coming and visiting me in Nashville. Thanks for making the drive.
Thanks for having me out.
And it's been a pleasure to have you on the Bonfire.
Appreciate it. Do you have a hashtag that we could have them do?
Do you have any ideas on that? See the good.
See the good.
I like that because we're looking, we're seeing.
Yep, I love that.
Okay, hashtag see the good. And please go ahead and anybody who you want to tag or promote who does good and positive things, put their name in the comments below, hashtag see the good.
Share this video, like it.
We are going to sign out and enjoy the music on the way out while you're making comments. Thank you.
Hey, Lord, it's me. I've been struggling for a while, but I'm sure you've seen. I'm trying every day, but every day things are getting harder. Oh Lord, oh Lord, won't you come and save me? Please come, and won't you comfort me? I'm begging for some sort of release. Lord, come save me. I feel like I'm drowning in this deep sea. I'll keep crying out to you. Some say I'll get lost if I keep going down this winding path. Lord, I can't seem